Hello everybody, welcome back or welcome to my channel. In today's video we're going to be doing like a beginning of year, start of year book tag. I am aware that typically these are done in January, but I had a lot of videos going on in January and so I'm doing it in February, but I still think it counts because it's only the second year out of 12, so I'm counting it as still as the start of the year. These questions I got from Larry Reads. She does honestly like beginning of year, like middle of the year and end of the year book tags, and she always does the questions in the description, so all of these are from her channel as well as the idea as a whole I got from her, and then obviously other booktubers that also did this. And there is a total of 18 questions, so we're just gonna get straight into the questions. I have them all on my laptop here because I'm currently filming on my phone. I do eventually want to get a camera, but we'll get around to that when we get around to that, and that is all we need to say about that. How many books are you planning on reading in 2026? My goals I have on Fable and Goodreads, which are the two apps and websites that I use to track my reading and reviews. I have it set at 75. Now, this isn't like an exact 75 is the exact number I'm going to read, and if I don't achieve it, I'm going to be really unhappy. No, that's not true. If I achieve it, then amazing. If I go past it, also amazing. If I happen to miss out on the goal, it's just for fun. It's not an exact number of I have to read this amount of books. It's just a fun number to put. Last year I read like 15 books because I was in and out of slumps constantly, as well as really busy with work and stuff, but I'm currently unemployed, so I have much more reading time on my hands. I do also have to say I think I prefer Fable to Goodreads because it seems like a much more positive place all in all, and I enjoy when it goes to ratings. You could do like 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, like you can be a lot more exact, whereas on Goodreads, if it's a 4.5, I tend to put it as a 4-star and then be like it's a 4.5 because they only do it star by star rather than with decimals. But book 2, question 2 is a book you're likely to reread this year. One series I really want to reread is the Empyrean series because after obviously getting to Onyx Storm and seeing everything unravel, I wanted kind of to see if I missed any hints in the first 2 books, obviously Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and I know a 4th book is coming at some point, so I wanted to do a reread before that. But honestly, I think rereading any of like my 5 stars would be super cool, and maybe rereading a 5-star that I haven't annotated and then rereading it and annotating it and like talking to you guys about what I'm annotating and why and different things like that. I think that will be super fun. Number 3 is a priority read on your 2026 TBR. Now, when I first kind of plotted out and planned some of these questions, I did put the Once Upon a Broken Heart series because I read book 1, Once Upon a Broken Heart, last year, and I still have obviously The Ballad of Never After and then A Curse of True Love. I did read The Ballad of Never After in my last reading vlog I did as to when I'm filming this, and I did end up giving that 5 stars, so I don't know if I can put this as a priority read because I'm already partway through finishing this series this year, and I think that might be slightly cheating. So I think one that I definitely want to get around to this year at some point is Manacled and Alchemized. They're by the same author, which is Zen Lin Yu, and it was very, very much hyped around and people rave and rant about it, and I do eventually get to very popular books, probably later than other people, but I get to them eventually. As an author you won't be reading more books from this year. Now, I think if you have watched any of my past videos, you'd know I do not enjoy this author's writing, and that is Colleen Hoover. I mean, taking the drama of everything that happens and how problematic she is as a person that has been proven and spoken about online 24/7, I just think her writing is not for me. The best book of hers that I've read is Verity, and even then I think it was a 3.5 star. Like, it wasn't incredible or changed my entire life. I just do not enjoy her writing. I will also say that I think not liking a book or an author is fine. Like, it's not the end of the world. I have been wanting to make short form content on TikTok and stuff for ages, but the book community on TikTok terrifies me, because if someone likes a book and you give it a bad review, it's like the end of the world to so many people, and it's not. It's just people have different reading tastes, and that's fine. But the concept scares me of opening up that floodgate of so many different things and so many different opinionated people. It does scare me. I think YouTube is a much more comfortable and safer corner of the world, all in all. Question 5 is something new you want to read. Now, I don't have a specific book, but I do have a goal in mind, which is to explore different genres and subgenres this year. I read a couple of dark romance books like in 2024 and 2025, and I did enjoy them, but like not as much as my romantasy books. So I think I do want to get more into dark romance. I also would like to read some non-fiction books, some historical fiction books, just fiction in general that's not necessarily romance. I just would like to widen my book taste and see what I end up enjoying. Number 6 is a popular book you want to read this year. I did mention one earlier, which is Alchemized, but the other one is a popular book that so many people read like many years ago in their teenage years or early 20s, depending on when it came out for them, and that is The Hunger Games. I have been wanting to watch the films for ages, and if I can, I enjoy reading a book before watching the movie, because I like to compare how accurate it is to the books. So The Hunger Games is one that has been on my list for ages, but I want to have them in physical form, and finding them in Spain in physical form as a set is not easy, and I think buying series as sets is often cheaper than buying it individually. So I'm still searching, but it's one I definitely want to read. Most anticipated 2026 book release. I talk about this series often on my channel, and if you've been around for a while, you probably get tired of me talking about it, but it is the Crowns of Nyxia series. This is a romantasy series that's interconnected duologies, but they're not standalone. Like, you do, per my personal opinion, have to read them in order. Obviously we have the first duology, which is Rain and Araya, the second duology that I just finished, which is about Mish and Asar, and we have the first book in the new duology coming out, which is The Lion and the Deathless Dark. All of these books are by Carissa Broadbent. I love her writing. I really enjoy reading it. I obviously got into her writing through Crowns of Nyxia, but since then I have been wanting to read and explore other books she has. I got partway through, I think it's Daughter of No Worlds or something like that, and put it on hold just because I got into a book slump, because it was around the same time that I was reading and finished Onyx Storm. So it got put on hold, but I was enjoying it. I just think her writing is so easy to read. The pacing is typically very good. I did find partway through the 4th book, which is The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk of the Crowns of Nyxia series, the pacing was a little bit weird, but then the end of the book I absolutely loved and adored, and I think she does such a good job of making you connect to the characters so well. I think I've cried every single book of hers, and being a masochist, that is a big plus. If a book emotionally wrecks me, destroys me, makes me cry, you're doing something right, and that's just how it is. A bookish goal for 2026, I kind of touched on this earlier, but it's to read more genres and to get through more of my physical TBR that I actually have before I buy more books, because that's money and I have them there to read. And yes, I do have my Kindle, but I think getting through physical TBR books is a good priority to have, because I want to set boundaries with myself of you need to read your physical TBR to be able to buy more physical books to put on your physical TBR. And all in all, I just would love to get close to my goal of 75 books. Not necessarily achieve it, but I'd love to get close to it. A book that's been on your TBR you won't probably ever read. This is one that has been in my TBR for years, probably since 2024. And the reason I doubt I'd get to it is because it is such a long book series, and if I'm reading a series, I'm reading the series. I want to read every single book, and that is Zodiac Academy, because it's 10 books, which all in all, not awful. I know the Hunger Games isn't necessarily a short series, and the Shadowhunters books that I also want to get to is an extremely long series, so it will probably be either Zodiac Academy or Shadowhunters world of books and series. There's just so many books, and I love to read series, I really do, but I also want to read other books, and if I get into a series, I get into the series, and I don't want to obsess and then fall into a book slump. So the concept of starting either one of them does scare me slightly, and that is why I constantly put it off. I know Zodiac Academy is available on my Kindle, and I have the book downloaded. I downloaded the first book in 2024, I think, and I still have not read it because I'm just scared of opening the floodgates of that world. And I also, as much as I love reading, I also love other forms of content and art and hobbies, so I don't want to give all of it to not be able to watch something. And so I don't know if I probably will eventually get around to it, because I do that with a lot of things. There's many books I'm I have you, but I probably never get around to you, and then I read them. So we shall see. I told myself because I hadn't read Fourth Wing Orion Flame when Onyx Storm came out, and I was telling myself I'm not going to fall for the hype. I don't know if I'll read that series, whatever. I went to a bookstore, saw that they had all 3 books. I was like, I'm getting that. I read all of them in the space of a week, maybe 2 weeks, because I took a break in between Iron Flame and Onyx Storm because obvious reasons. So I will probably get around to them at some point, but I just doubt I will. There's doubt there of me reading those series. A series you want to read this year. Now I know this kind of contradicts my last statement, because there's also a lot of books in them, and as I said earlier, I feel like I can't really choose Once Upon a Broken Heart series, because I'm missing, well, it's not a series, it's like a trilogy. I'm missing one book to finish it at this point, so I don't think it's fair for me to say that. And I know it does contradict what I just said, because it is many books long, but it is the Boys of Tumon series. Look, I know it's very contradictory to what I just said, but if I'm doing it, I'll do it one series at a time, maybe limit myself to one long series each year. We'll see. But like I said, I have found a couple of sets of these books, of the whole series, but they're quite expensive, so I need to get through physical TBR books to warrant buying a bunch of them, because that is my goal this year. Your auto-buy authors going into 2026. Now, I'm someone I'm someone who doesn't really have auto-buy authors, because I do think I am a massive mood reader and I do go on whatever vibes I'm feeling. And so there are authors that I love that have had books that I have not enjoyed. One that I always go to whenever stuff is released is Carissa Broadbent, and if I had to choose one, I'd probably say Carissa Broadbent or Rebecca Yarros. But they're not like auto-buy, they're just the ones that I've probably read the most books by. A book to show adaptation you're really excited about this year. Now, as I'm filming this, the series is obviously out, but it's not available in my current country, which is honestly offensive on their part, but it is Heated Rivalry. I loved Heated Rivalry. I need to finish the Game Changers series, which I will do very, very quickly, because they're just very short, easy to read books. But I have not seen Heated Rivalry yet. I've read the book, I love the book. I've been waiting an entire month at this point for it to be available in my country, and it's finally coming like the 5th of February or something like that. And I'm so excited to watch it. And another one is, this one might make me look a bit shallow, and honestly, I don't care. Wuthering Heights is coming out very close to Valentine's Day, and I have not read that book. I know it is a book. It's like a classical literature old book. I haven't read it yet. I don't know if I'll read it before going to see the film, but it has Margot Robbie and it has Jacob Elordi in it, and I love both of those actors, so I will be going to see Wuthering Heights. For the plot. Obviously, for the plot. A sequel you're anticipating. Now this, prompt question, I took it kind of, because I've already talked about in a release that's a sequel to a book or a part of a series that's coming out, which was the 5th book in the Crowns of Nixia, which was The Lion and Death of Stark. I took this as an opportunity to also talk about adaptations of a book into a or series, and a sequel that I'm looking forward to is supposedly releasing either this year or next year, and it's been confirmed that there will be a sequel, and it's a sequel to Red, White and Royal Blue, which is Red, White and Royal Wedding. That book was a 5-star for me. That film, I think, is probably the best book to movie adaptation I've personally ever seen, in my opinion, of books I've read before watching movies. It was exactly what I had envisioning in my head while I was reading the book. And while I don't think there's a second book that's actually released and written, I do think that that movie will not let me down based on the first. I also know that they're doing Off Campus as a series, but that's not a sequel to anything. It's a new thing that I probably should have talked about earlier. But here's the thing. I read The Deal, which is the first book in the Off Campus series, and I loved it. I think it was like a 4-star or something for me. I really enjoyed it. Read the second book, did not really enjoy that. And so I've not really gone back into that series, but I might just to read it before the TV show comes out that they're supposedly doing. And I think they are, because I think it was at some event or something, someone who was playing one of the characters in the series sang the national anthem. But I'm not 100% sure. Bookish things you're leaving in 2026. Now, this I have conflicted feelings on, because they're so much fun to film, but I do put myself to certain standards, and I feel less productive when I am following a TBR. I have just recently done a January wrap up, and I talked about February priority reads, which are books I'd like to pick up in February, but it's not, for me, it's not the same as a TBR. For other people, it may be. Because for me, a TBR is books I have to read and want to read in that month. And so because I am someone who loves to stick to certain plans, if I want to have chosen those like 6 books or whatever, I will aim to read nothing but those 6 books. And if I don't do it, I feel really unproductive reading wise. But then if I follow it and they're all like similar types of books, or I just might not be in the mood to read those specific books, the ratings and reviews get affected by that. And so I want to do a TBR, but more priority reads in a month of, these are the books I really want to get to, but not necessarily hardcore, like you have to read these books, because that's just not productive for me. Another thing I want to leave behind in 2025, I touched on earlier, which is just the book shaming in any capacity. Like, I don't do it in my way or my world, like that does not come out of my mouth. I don't care if someone rates a book I think is like god tier 6-star, if they rate it a 3-star or they did not like it whatsoever. Everyone's reading taste is very different. I don't care if you're not someone who reads a variety of genres. If you stick to fantasy books with dragons, you stick to that. I do not care. This is not something I participate in, but it is something I see constantly. So I want to leave behind, honestly, just caring about people book shaming, because it just is so ridiculous to me, because we have this community that have this great hobby in common, and yet we're still shaming each other for not liking a book I loved or liking a book I thought was not great. It just is so ridiculous. We're coming to the end of this. We have like 3 or 4 questions left, and this one is what to expect from this account. Honestly, a lot more book videos this year. I love to do book videos. I love to talk about reading, sharing my hobbies, but I also like to do just normal vlogs and talk about my life, give you updates, take you along to like a weekend or a day or routine, whatever it may be. I just love to have this little safe space where I can talk about anything, like unshamelessly. And all in all, I want to be more open about loads of stuff, because I know there's so many people out there who also struggle with many things, and I want this to be a place where you can find someone to relate to, or just a distraction, whatever it may be. But the main videos I do are, I don't want to say lifestyle because it's not aesthetic or anything necessarily, but just life and vlog videos, as well as a lot of book videos. When it comes to book videos, you can also expect very honest reviews. If I love an author, I don't know why I said it like that, but if I love an author and did not like a certain book from them, just because I love the author, I'm not going to go, well, I think it's a 3-star, but I like this author, so I'm going to say it's a 4-star. Like, I will be very honest with the reviews I'm giving you, because they're my opinions. It's my opinion. How has your reading taste evolved from last year? I think my reading taste have definitely got more variety and a bit more eclectic. I think I definitely found my type of reading style and taste last year, because I did read very few books, but every book I read, well, not every single one, but most of the books I read last year were very highly ranked. So I think I did find my reading taste last year, and I think I'm just all in all trying to have a bit more fun with it. I'm not trying to force myself to read X amount of books. I just kind of want to mood read is what I do. Booktube creators who inspire you. I love this. I think there are so many. There's like genuinely so many that I follow, and there's so many that I'm going to name, and I'm probably going to like not name so many that I also enjoy and love. obviously the one I have to start with is two that were the people that really inspired me to start making book videos, which one was Larry Reed's, who I reference a lot in different videos, and the other one was Hayley Pham. I watched Hayley Pham when she was doing her girlish videos and trying out different like hair removal things. I was there for a long time, the girly pop era, and then she got into reading and she started her reading channel, and I've been following her for so long. And I think Hayley Pham and Larry Reed's were the two first ever book content creators that I followed, and then from there it just spiraled and I found so many more, which I'm so incredibly grateful for. I also think it's so cool and inspiring that Hayley Pham is releasing her first ever original book. Like, she is going to be an author this year, which is crazy, and I will be reading that book, best believe. Apart from them, obviously through Larry Reed's I got into Mariana and Yana, who they're like the trio at the moment. I think it first started with Destiny Sidwell and Sarah Caroli, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. If I'm saying that wrong, I do apologise. And they were like the first trio I started with, and then obviously when Larry, Mariana and Yana started a little trio as well, I was obsessed. I think there's so many, and the reason they're on this list is because I have a mixture of all of their book tastes, and which is why if they recommend a book, it will go on my TBR, because I know we have very similar tastes in so many different ways. And so yeah, Yana, Mariana, Larry, Hayley, Sarah, Destiny. Apart from them, there's also on TikTok, I don't think she has a YouTube channel because I've not been able to find her, but on TikTok it's Bookish by Tammy. I love her recommendations, as well as Bailey, who's also on TikTok and YouTube. And then the last two I have is What Emmy Reads. I love her vlogs. I find them so aesthetic and relatable, as well as Laura on here. Again, obsessed. I love Laura's body doubling videos of like the read with me for an hour. I think it's so cool. That must be so incredibly time consuming, because you're reading for an entire hour, but she's changing angles, she's doing different clips in between, the music, it's incredible. There has been times I've fallen asleep just because the music in those videos and the vibes and aesthetic is so relaxing. But I love every single one of them so much, and I think, yes, they are all book girlies, and if I had to say book like guy content creators, it would be Jack Edwards, I believe is his name. I just think he's so cool. Like, he reads so many different genres and is so like critical with his reviews. I just love him. And for the last question, that is question 18, is something you want to say to anyone wanting to start a bookish account. The only thing I can tell you is just do it. Like, currently, to when I'm filming this video, I have 28 subscribers, I think, and I don't have thousands and thousands of views, but I'm doing something I enjoy. I feel happy when I do it. I wasted so many years because I wanted to do YouTube videos for so long, like so incredibly long, like probably from when I was like 13 years old, and at that point I wanted to do like makeup videos, and obviously as I've gotten older I've found different niches and different hobbies and things that I enjoy, and obviously one of them is reading. So when I saw other people making content about reading, I was like, I want to do that, and I sat there probably for like 3 years being like, I want to do that, and not going and doing it. And now that I have, I am so incredibly happy I've taken that jump. Whether I have 28 subscribers, at one point I only had 2, at one point I might have thousands, but right now I'm happy with where I'm at. I am doing what I enjoy and currently doing it freely. If I can make this a full-time job, then great. If I can't, then it's just something I'll do as a hobby on the side for me because I enjoy doing it. I really do. Other advice I'd give is if you just do it, you will learn as you go. I remember like not being that great at editing in my first few videos, and I've only just started doing previews in reading vlogs and things because I've only recently learned how to do that, and my thumbnails get better and better, and it's just kind of a learning experience as you go. But if you don't start, you'll never know where anything could go, and I just think doing something you enjoy and makes you happy, there's going to be no regret in that, quite honestly. And with all of that being said, that does bring us to the end of today's video. I am currently trying to upload twice a week, so a shorter video on Wednesdays and then a longer reading vlog or just a long video in general on Saturdays. There'll be times I might not post on Wednesdays, but you can always expect a video on a Saturday. And I love you all so much. I'm forever grateful for every single view and subscriber I get. With that all being said, if you do want to join this little corner and this little family we have going on over here on my channel, and you do enjoy book videos and life vlogs and chatty videos, because I do yap quite a bit about books and just life in general, and I'm very honest about everything, good and bad, then be free and feel free to subscribe to see more videos of me and those types of videos. With all that being said, I hope to see you in my next video. I love and appreciate every single one of you watching this or watching any other video of mine, and yeah.